Hi guys, I'm Dr. Square. This is the coin of Usain Bolt. This is a coin of Marley. They're both available for purchase at the Bank of Jamaica. They're souvenir coins essentially. Interestingly, they have Christopher Columbus souvenir coins as well as Queen Elizabeth II. Not surprisingly, of course, she is of the Commonwealth realm. She's featured on more coins than any other person in history. Why is this important? This is important because there's a long history of putting leaders, kings, queens, heroes, and even gods on coins since they appeared more than 2,600 years ago. Let us use coins to give an insight as to who you really are. Your ancestors, who your ancestors were throughout history, 2 millenniums ago or more than 2,000 years ago. But first, let's look at Jamaica. We know that Christopher Columbus came here around 526 years ago. He was sent by King Ferdinand, Queen Isabella. They were rulers of Spain at the time. I made mention to that in my last video, what they will tell you. You can go check it out, you might find it interesting. Around 15 years after his arrival, the Spanish people settled in Jamaica and they introduced their own coin. When they came to Jamaica, they ruled for over a century, almost 2 centuries, 161 years to be exact. We know that they killed 99% of the population by introducing disease, enslaving some of the native. But let us not focus on the destructive, let's focus on the constructive. So the Jamaican proverb, thief no lights, another thief with the back. Well, basically when the Spanish people came and they ruled Jamaica for a while, British people came, they captured Jamaica from the Spanish, and subsequently after they introduced their own coin. So in 1822, the first British coin was introduced to Jamaica. If you look at the British one that was introduced in 1822, on this coin there's the crown, the lion, and again the same thing on our coat of arms. We have the crown. Remember, they gave us the coat of arms, so we're not surprised. The crown is also on the Governor General's flag and many other things on the Ministry of National Security. The logo of the Jamaica Defense Force, the logo of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the coat of arms as well on everything that comes under the ministry. Coat of arms also on our money. Eventually, they started using banknotes or paper money with portraits of a queen. Portrait was changed from a queen to our national heroes and heroines. So this actually shows how the faces and the face on the money change over time. The point is that what the banknotes look like decades ago is not the same. They change with time. What if we were to look at coins that were made more than 2,000 years ago? Your best bet would be that this would show a completely different picture. The people that would appear on the coins would obviously be different. But before we get to the details on coin, interestingly, Benjamin Franklin, the guy on the $100 US banknote, he's very important to the American history. Also one of their founding fathers. He wrote an essay in 1751 that was exactly 269 years ago. So he wrote an essay on America as the land of opportunity. As part of that essay, Benjamin Franklin noted that the demographics of Europe, the Americas, Asia, as of his time, yes, 269 years ago, were purely dark skin or brown skin people. He noted that the number of white people in the world was disproportionately small. All of Africa was black or tawny. Asia was chiefly tawny. America tawny. Tawny I mean brown. Africans and Native Americans are brown or black. Asians are mostly brown. Benjamin Franklin stated that the population of Caucasian was small 269 years ago. That was like almost 3 centuries ago. This makes logical sense. Let's look at the population size now and go back in time. The current population size is 7.8 billion. This is almost 8 billion people in 2020. The current population size of Europe is almost 800 million people. That's less than a billion. Caucasian is estimated to make up less than 15% of the world's population. This means that the further back you go in time, the less of the Caucasian population you will see. So the further back you go in time, the smaller and smaller Caucasian population will get. The smaller and smaller the Indian population will get. Black population will get. If you even go further back to a couple thousand years ago, they did not exist, meaning that the light skin phenotype did not exist 6,000 years ago. This makes sense, right? Doesn't make sense to you? So I've also stated in my last video that the first Homo sapiens were born around 200,000 years ago. So the population size of Homo sapiens was estimated to be 1 to 300,000 people. That's literally the size of small island St. Lucia times 2 in 2020. The white skin people did not exist, as this is a recent mutation in evolution. This depigmentation gene is called SLC24A5. This swept through the European population the past 6,000 years. First surprise was that the SLC24A5, which swept Europe, is also common in East Africa. This gene that's responsible for skin pigmentation is most prominent in East Africa. The same gene, SLC24A5, is found in at least half of the Ethiopian. This is evidence coming from papers published in journals with high impact factors such as Science and Nature, as I'm showing you. From these studies, they also found variants of neighboring gene HERC2 and OCA2, which are associated with light skin, eyes, ears in European that arose in Africa. How do we know these things? They studied ancient DNA of Eurasians, of course, people living in Europe and Asia around 6,000 years ago. Study on the genome of the Anatolian and the Neolithic farmers, people who existed in Europe and Asia more than 6,000 years ago. These Neolithic farmers were said to be the first European farmers who brought civilization to Europe, and it suggested that the light-skin phenotype emerged around that time when the first Neolithic farmers existed in Europe around at least 6,500 to 4,000 years ago. So again, the further back you go, even using paleoarchaeological evidence, the more you will see. Even though we associate dark skin to be Africans, that's grossly incorrect, because different groups of people in Africa have almost every skin color on this planet. A study published in Science also traced the evolution of these genes and how they travel around the world. So in essence, Caucasians, you are black. You are simply just a variant of what was a little bit darker. And if you look closely, you can see where the population size increased significantly over a millennium. So, and of course, if you go further back, there would be no Europe, there would be no continent. Depending on how far back you go, there will be no Earth. But let's stick to the beginning, when the original design emerged and continued to evolve through your DNA. Let's get back to the coins. So, the world's first coin appeared around 2,600 years ago. They appeared in Lydia. Lydia was an Iron Age kingdom of the Western Asia Minor. It's located in Turkey. First one featured the head of a lion and were made of electrum, an alloy of gold and silver. So this is actually exhibited in the Department of Coins and Metal of the British Museum. This museum also has one of the world's finest collections. Pactolus is a river in Turkey that contained the electrum that was used to make these coins, and this served as the basis for the economy of the ancient state of Lydia. Paying close attention to the map, you can see North Africa, where we have Algeria, Libya, and Egypt. We also have in proximity to Turkey, where the coins were made. Note the proximity of Greece, neighboring Turkey, as well as Italy. So you will see eventually that the coins were disseminated from Turkey, where they were made, to Greece, to Italy. They were disseminated through Italy, Greece, and other Greek islands such as Lesbos. This is a Etruscan coin. This coin dated back to the 3rd century BCE, before the Common Era. This is located in the British Museum. Look closely on this coin. What do you see? Do you see yourself? This coin is around 2,300 years old. This coin is from Italy. Do you see yourself? Do you know who you are? But who are the Etruscans really? Etruscans were culturally documented in central Italy around 8th century, specifically in central Italy, from the 8th to the 1st century BC. So mitochondrial DNA was extracted from bones, amplified and sequenced by a combination of classical method. They used next generation sequencing. Sounds all fancy, but it's not fancy to me, because I am a molecular microbiologist. I extract DNA, I sequence genes as well. So when they see the genome of the Etruscan, they realized that they were closely related to members of North Africa as well as Turkey. Let us look at some Greek coin. This is a Greek coin. This is dated as far back as 490 BCE, more than 2,500 years ago. In the Western Art and Photo Archive for African and African American Research, Harvard University. This is also another Greek coin, again more than 2,500 years old. Not surprising that with the circulation of coins emerged an economy. It's also important to note that the word democracy first appeared in ancient Greece. Also, the Olympic Games. which originated in ancient Greece as many as 3,000 years ago. And finally, let us look at coins from Lesbos. Lesbos is the third largest island in Greece. These are coins that are more than 2,500 years old. Do you see yourself? Do you see yourself? Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are?
Säg det spjåsise. Säg det spjåsise. Weißt du wer du bist? Weißt du wer du bist?
Do you see yourself? Remember who you are. Remember who you are. The world is always changing. The world is always moving. That's why we have seasons. The population demographics, genotypes, phenotypes are always changing. We are among many other living things on this planet that are always changing, and we will continue to change with time, just like the universe is and will continue to expand in time and space. So to all my oppressed brothers and sisters, my ancestors told me to tell you that your true potentials lie dormant. Most of you are actual polymath. You just don't know it. My message to the ignorant, the jealous, the hateful, the envious, those who are closest to you, the savage killers, killing our children or women or grandparents, each other. Those of you who are here to take on the role of the slave masters and in turn oppress your own people, those who are closest to you who call themselves friends, the envious, those are primitive traits. Some of us have evolved mentally into a new state. Some of us have evolved mentally into a new dimension. You can choose to continue to be inferior by oppressing the people who look like you, the people who don't look like you. But the reality is that we have transcended into a new dimension, mentally into a new dimension. And the most powerful driving force is love. Welcome to the new reality.